Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So, on behalf of Team Nv-Ratna and Team ISVR Business School, we would like to thank you and welcome you to be a part of Nv-Ratna series. It has been a very long journey for us as well to start this series and to welcome guests. So, thank you for being part of this series.
My honor.
Yes, sir. So, talking about DALHAM Learning, could you tell us how you started the journey, sir?
DALHAM started back in 2018 as a not-for-profit body with core focus to promote creative and liberal education in a country where self-obsession for management and engineering is so high. And so the whole idea was to look at, encourage parents, encourage students, encourage educators to get a deeper understanding of what social science can do for the betterment of the world. DALHAM is an abbreviation of 6 disciplines. It's D for design, A for art, L for liberal education and literature, H for humanities, A for architecture, and M for media. And if you look at the 6 disciplines, India have been really rich in all of the 6 domains. But we have always looked at borrowing from the West, that okay, we can be the best in AI and ML and management. But of course, we are really doing wonders there, but we should not have forgotten some of the amazing roots that we have come from. So that was the push in 2018, but I was very clear in 2019 that, I want to design a curriculum that can complement both management and education institute in terms of their holistic education. The best part that in 2020 NEP happened, the National Education Policy, which emphasized a lot on holistic and liberal education. So I think that was the right time for us to turn into a for-profit, raise investment and scale up. So that's how DALHAM started.
So, sir, after dropping out, what kept you motivating to become an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I think I dropped out for a very simple reason. I was never fond of education. Books, classroom, teachers have never motivated me at all. So throughout my school, from grade 1st to 12th, I was an below average student, never scored more than 35%. So was never interested in education, you can understand. But had a passion to become a journalist or a writer. That was either or would have been a call for me, but landed up in a management school, and then I thought, okay, this is not my area of interest. So I dropped, never planned to become an entrepreneur. I think I'm an accidental entrepreneur. After dropping, when my batchmates were continuing with their undergrad and the masters, I decided that, okay, the next 4 to 5 years, I'm going to spend time on experimenting things that I don't like. So I went on doing the longest internship ever, which was like for 5 years in different organizations. So I tried my hands in movies and technology and things. But after that, when I had to take a call, what's next? What I really want to do. So I was by then clear that I think I want to continue my career in media. When I say media, it's not about, I wanted to create stories. And I wanted to bring reflection of everything that I believed in or I faced as a challenge. So that motivated me to be turned into an entrepreneur in, I think it was 2010 when I started. So yeah.
So, sir, basically what was the reason behind creating a different learning base like DALHAM Institute?
DALHAM is the youngest, but I will throw some light on what I've done in past. So I think, as I said, everything was reflection of my personal experience. So the first experience was I landed up coming to a college in Delhi based on the brochure that I have seen. So I felt that brochure was a stupid thing. We need to have more experiential, engagement for students making choices for where they want to go. So I said, okay, can I, with my passion and love for media, can I start making documentary on schools and colleges and take it on TV so that millions of students and parents can see where they're sending their kids. So that's how my journey started. Technically, I started my first venture as Great Place to Study. So idea was to figure out great places to study in the country, document them and put it on TV. So we are the pioneers. Nobody thought of doing a TV show on schools. Fast forwarding that for 10 years, it still continues. I started with Times Now. It runs on National Geographic now. So 350 schools and colleges have been documented. Post which, I think my second reflection was that what was it that I never liked classrooms? What is the reason that I dropped? And I think whenever we have seen colleges talking about or schools talking about we are #1, we are 5-star rated, we are QS ranked, we are NAC 3.26 and all of these things. If you have gone back, very little attention or no attention, not just in India or the worldwide, no attention was given to students. So if your college is ranked #1, did they come and ask you, are you happy here? So the answer is no. So I launched a happiness index in 2014, So under Great Place to Study, we're the first one to do assessment, and we had a very blunt statement: if your students are not happy and satisfied doing what they do, then you are not a great place to study. So that fairly did well, and we expanded outside India, and then Great Place to Study got acquired in 2020. So the context of DALHAM that came from that, I personally have always believed in very student-centric and human-centric education, which I did not receive, and but have been a passionate reader. So I think whatever I am fairly doing today is based on the kind of books I read. So one liner, if I have to tell you that what made me start DALHAM is to bring a holistic approach. You can't just learn marketing skills to become a great marketer if you don't study human behavior, society, culture. And to study all of this, you don't need books. You can watch content, they're freely available, and you need to learn only one thing, that is, how do you interlink between different disciplines. So that was my DALHAM's fundamental goal.
So DALHAM Learning also focuses on the holistic development of 21st century skills. So, but people are still unaware of these skills that are required to sustain and survive in today's market. So how do you think DALHAM Learning can help make people aware, and how do you think it can help the current and the future generations?
Okay. So let's divide them into three aspects. Number one, if you read history a lot, then you will see that nothing new is happening. There's a repetition of things which are going on. The pattern of education rely on the economy of a country. It's period. I mean, if you look at why we were so keen on engineering and management, because we needed jobs, and this two discipline could have taken us to jobs. There was market mobility happening from industrial revolution. We got into globalization, and then internet boom came in. So it demanded us to be skilled. When you have little money, extra money in your pocket, you start thinking beyond your need. So apart from paying rent and buying food and buying basic clothes, you might think now to walk into a mall. So when the economy goes into a developing phase, your social aspect starts coming in play. And today we are in fourth industrial revolution. Humans are more connected than ever they could have connected before. The generation who is going to be adult or teen in next few years are referred as neo millennials. They have very different learning habits. Availability of resources and knowledge is spread across. You type a topic and Google will throw you answers. So putting all of these things by holistic, what we refer, or the world refers, is that you cannot be disciplined in one subject. You need to be multidisciplined. You need to have perspective about different things. And yes, the awareness is less now. What is 21st century skills and what is holistic, again, are two different contexts. 21st century skills are referred as soft skills, power skills, global citizenship skills, business skills, and they're very simple. As I said, we have entered fourth industrial revolution. It demands you to have certain kind of attributes in yourself. And these attributes are no more about technology, because if you learn coding A today, by the time you finish your graduation, coding B will come, A is obsolete. So World Economic Forum have defined in a way that, okay, let's divide them into hard and soft. Hard will keep evolving and keep vanishing. But soft will remain common across any sector, across any role. And these soft skills are not about how you communicate. It's about how you think critically, how do you effectively communicate, how do you collaborate with people inside and outside your organization, how do you solve problems. So this bundle of modules are referred as 21st century skills. Added to that, at DALHAM we call something called Knowledge for Modern World. So in Knowledge for Modern World, we are looking at modules which are from social science discipline, but needed, much needed in the management and engineering world. For example, cultural anthropology for electronic vehicle. I mean, people will wonder why, but if you go and read about it, you will find why cultural anthropologists are needed. In fact, both Nissan and Tesla's heads are not engineering background, they're cultural anthropologists. Data science is great, it's a big topic, buzz. But if you study what behavioral economics and behavioral sciences, you will find data science to be a very small, tiny dot in that larger picture. So we're looking at knowledge for modern world and skills for future jobs as our area. How we are helping institutional students is that we adopted the way they want to receive information. Now if you have got into fast food habit, and if I serve burger in a Navratri thali, it won't work, right? So we adopted the learning habits of millennials. We understood how they would like to learn. And I think it's clear with all of you are millennials. So I think it's very clear that you start things where you know when is the end goal. So the earlier days, that okay, it's a 5 years degree program. But today with hybrid model, you want to start a journey where you know where the journey ends. 3 hours program, 2 hours program. So all our modules are broken down into micro learning, which means that each chapter is 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but that doesn't mean that you're not learning. In fact, you're learning better and for good and for life. So that's how we are imparting, and how we are taking it. We are taking it via institution to the students. So we are partnering with universities and colleges across the country. We are integrating our curriculum with their existing curriculum and making it more holistic.
So, sir, what are the skill base you are looking for in the students to take up in your institutions?
We're not an institution. We are actually a multidisciplinary education company. We offer curriculum to colleges.
So what are the skill set you look for in the students?
What are the skill sets that we look for? What do we look for in students? We don't look for anything. In fact, we take those skill sets to students, and we take something in one word. If I have to define, then it's thinking skills. So no matter how great good university you go and study, no matter how great good family you come from, no matter how great good environment that you were born and raised, but I think education needs to solve 3 things. And if it's not solving these 3 things, then you are not ready for life. 1, ability to think and shape opinion. Number 2, have perspective. Perspective in a very neutral manner. You should not judge people, society and culture based on your one-side biasness. And the third is to complement a growth without compromising a social aspect. So you need to really look at that with one step that I take, is it giving back to the society? Because if you are not protecting it, if you are not taking care of it, the generation after this will not survive. So I think these are the 3 fundamental focus that we have. And we ensure this learning outcomes are met through our curriculum. And our curriculum, as I said, are 21st century skills and liberal arts program. And liberal arts predominantly for management and engineering students. And we truly believe that multidisciplinary is what you need in the jobs which are yet to be created. Yeah. So let's look at a classic example. We have been talking about tech for so long, tech for good, tech for best, tech for betterment. So this technology have already produced brands like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn, and they're so active. And it demanded pure technology. Let's go back in history, 1900, when the automobile cars came in, and look at a car today. Look at the smartness that the car had brought in, and look at a car then. So if you see the transformation, what happened from car in 1900 to car in 2022 is nothing but design upliftment, good creative upliftment, which made people more connect with the brand. Look at how we dressed earlier, how we dress today. It's about feeling comfortable and smart. So when it comes to technology, we're moving into metaverse, which is going to demand more of art and creativity, because you're going to look at everything visually. So, and that's where the multidiscipline. So you may be one of the greatest coder, but if you don't have sense of design in coming time, if you don't have sense of creativity, if you don't have sense of playing around with communication, you won't be able to sustain and survive. You have to continuously look at those skills. Yeah.
As we know that DALHAM Learning is an e-learning platform. So how do you, ensure efficient learning, sir?
So for donkey good 20 years, I think e-learning has already come in play, and E stands for electronic. We all know it. But why do we keep talking about E again and again when we know it's electronic? So I think at DALHAM we are doing it a little differently. We know electronic is a medium, but for us e-learning, E stands for entertaining learning, engaging learning, and enlightenment in learning. So all our program, all our curriculum are built with subject matter experts, but they all are converted into highly engaging cinematic content. So it's as good as watching a mini documentary. So I bring entertainment first. If I'm bringing entertainment, I can bring engagement, because all our chapters are like a web series. If chapter 1 ends, it will push you to get into chapter 2. So there is an interlink done in a very cinematic format. And if I'm able to entertain and engage you, I'm confident that by end of the course, if nothing but 25 to 35% outcome is already met, because our education system that we have built is very story based. So everything is a beautiful story narrated in a very different way. And it goes back of your mind. You will be able to look at how do you practice it when it is needed, or else it will be stored. So we also call our DALHAM program as, so you have education which are like painkiller, go to 4 years degree program, get a job. So it's typically like a painkiller. or rather what we call, most of the management school practice called school finishing program communication classes. So these are painkillers. DALHAM is vitamin, because it may not solve your immediate problem, but it will prepare you from not getting into, keep your immune system better. So it's vitamin D for us, and we ensure that vitamin D is married with vitamin M for media, which is, engagement. So that's how we do it.
So basically, sir, India is always fascinated about STEAM education. So, but now DALHAM is like aim to incorporate the skill-based learning and the innovative learning. So, how do you see this Indian education system within 5 to 10 years? How it will be going?
National education policy, they've already brought in a lot of mandates, and the mandate is going to lead India to become a multidisciplinary hub. There's nothing bad about STEM, but only STEM is also not great. See, if you look at one of the most respected job in the country, can you name it? The most difficult to crack. It's IS. So when you crack IS, what's the first round of examination what kind of questions they ask you? It's from history, political science, geography, civics, society, general knowledge. They don't ask you questions from physics, chemistry. Which means it's very clear that, to survive in society, to live in society, to build better society, you need social science skills. And India have just, so social science, if STEM is a movie, then social science was like an intro that you skipped the ad and jumped into the main context. So what happened with that you prepared people for a job that is changing so frequently. Why innovation doesn't happen in India? Give me one classic example that is Indian origin in the new age startup. We talk about brands like so many fintech companies, I shouldn't name them, but they all are a copy of PayPal. We talk about so many e-commerce, they all came out of Amazon. We talk about hotels and rooms booking, they all came out of Airbnb. Tell me one brand that's not a copy of someone. For a simple reason, you will be able to give birth to a product if you have a human connection and society connection. So next 10 years, which already have started coming in play in tier 1 colleges. But yes, 5 years down the line, a BTech will not graduate only at computer science. He might be BTech major in computer science, minor in anthropology, maybe MBA in marketing with minor in sociology. In the foundation, you might do math with music. You might do chemistry with history. So when you have that interdisciplinary culture, you have a better perspective, nothing else. It doesn't change anything. But it makes you ready for things to not only create, but also be ready for something which is yet not been seen.
Sir, when you talked about social sciences as well, the additional courses are already there in the Western universities. You don't just graduate in one specialization or one course, you do multidisciplinary courses. So why is it taking so long for it to come to India, sir?
It was always there. I think our Gurukul model was all about multidisciplinary education system. Nalanda had the same system. We need to look at why it got skipped out. It got skipped out with the invasion started coming in play in our country. If you look at the note made by the British, it was very clear that we don't want Indians to know how to think. We want Indians to know how to be a clerk, how to be an administrator. And they wanted to create an education system which puts you to be an inferior in front of them. They designed an education model which was to ensure that for the next 3 and 4 generation, you will not forget how great and good we are, including the fact now that we are still interacting in the language they gifted us. So it was always there, it got skipped off. If you look at IIT's curriculum in 50s, the 5 years, it was not a 4-year BTech program, it was a 5-year BTech program. The first 1 year was on social science. But as we were progressing towards job market, people felt that let's skip all of this which are not needed. So it was a bad decision at that time, but I think it solved our problem to come from, will this country sustain to, are we the next superpower economy? That was needed. But now I think as we are settling down, we will be looking at adopting that model. And yes, it came late, it went back, it was there, but it went back. It's about the realization, it's about, are you creating global citizens? And then India suddenly realized, no, we are not. And I think that was the context missing.
So, sir, the main aspect that e-learning cannot substitute the traditional school learning. So, is there any inculcation of social skills? Is there any way that can be changed?
So you can never replace. Replacement is a century goal. You need to may spend 100 years to remove something and bring in something. But I think online is going to supplement the overall education system now. In a way, technology plays a major role in your day-to-day mobility in classroom, outside classroom. And e-learning companies are going to become like your go-to platform to brush up your skills, to learn something based on the classroom knowledge that you have gathered. Human behavior and body functions based on the 6 senses. And the 7th that we don't talk about is the is of that kind of the contextual awareness and the belongingness that you find. So I will learn more by maybe sitting with you, spending more time with you guys, which cannot happen in the online environment. I didn't get the second question that you asked attached to it.
Like, is there any inculcation of social skills? Is there that can be changed?
Social skills, can it be changed?
Yeah.
I think we're already in that change mode. The first and foremost, I think from a social skill point of view, I think 5 years back, a management graduate or engineering graduate felt very inferior in the fact that if they can't communicate it good in English. Thank God we are out of it now. Now it is all about how effective communicator we can be, and you can adopt any language. It can be Hindi, it can be your mother tongue, it can be English. So yes, that's one aspect which is changing, and I think second which is changing is people are becoming comfortable the way they are, at least in the minority urban life that I see. So you don't have to really present yourself, which is so artificial. And all of this thing happens when you get that kind of contextual awareness in education. If you need that kind of settlement about yourself in the society, then you need to look at education from a very different perspective. Yeah. And I think online education can solve that particular problem.
So, sir, in your article about 4 C's of 21st century, you said that students need to be proficient in communicating. And how does DALHAM Learning, come into this picture, and how does DALHAM Learning want to improve upon this, sir?
So, communication is the most important and the most dynamic aspect, I think, in our socio, business, political life. And by communication, what we refer and what we teach is how to become effective communicator in a way that you have got a complex 1 paragraph idea. How do you really simply communicate in 7 words? I think it is Larry Page who said that if you can't describe your company in 7 words today, you are not part of Silicon Valley. So communication for us is to ensure that you have thought through something. Instead of making it a complex topic, how do you simply present it? How do you communicate effectively? It can be communication through art, can be through visual, can be through your verbal language. So this is what we teach. We don't teach you phonetics, we don't teach you grammar, we don't teach you dialects, we teach you the art of communication.
Entrepreneurial life. So we can all understand that the first 2 years are very stressful for any entrepreneur. So how did you handle that stress, and how did you overcome the challenges, sir?
I think it's not first few years, it's every day. I think it's 12 years now, it's every day the same feeling. If I have to divide them in 2 categories, the positive aspect and the negative aspect. Positive is that you are energized because it's you who thought through and you want to do it, and you feel that you're happy looking at if you have ideated something, it's taking some shape. So that's one thing which keeps you away from stress. And when stress comes, it's not that I don't know about others, but I do feel like quitting. I think I go through that stage every month and I feel like मैं छोड़ देता हूँ. But I think I go back and ask one simple question: why did I even start? And I come out of my room and see that 50 faces and say, okay, there are 50 kitchens dependent on me. Go back into the room and get back into the work. So this is how I handle stress. Alternatively, I think I handle stress by reading and watching movie. I think that keeps me away. But it's part of, it's like, if you are a pilot, you know how to, one of the key skills that you were not supposed to sleep when you're flying. So as an entrepreneur, one of those skills come from that pilot thing. You're not supposed to sleep. and there won't be any peace, because law of diminishing marginal utility, we all have studied in economics, come in play in a way that you start, you get bored, and then you again feel like, so you have to shift gear all the time. And with experience comes wisdom. So now the problems that I faced in my first innings, it's my second venture, the experience is same what I faced in 2012, start everything from, so even when DALHAM started, going to printer shop, getting brochure ready or getting things. So you go through that. But what I brought in DALHAM is the wisdom from the first venture, mistakes that you are not supposed to make, focus on things which were more stressful that time. So yeah, this is how I manage it.
So now we would like to move to the
rapid fire round.
Okay.
So yes, sir. So what's your favorite book, sir?
It's actually I have got collection of favorite books, and all of them belong to the category of history.
Okay. Yeah. Any of them? Any one name?
Okay, very difficult in that way. I think Midnight Freedom remains as one of my classic favorite till today.
So your favorite destination, travel destination?
My destination has always been Northeast. That's where I come from. I come from Shillong.
Any favorite quote that you would like to tell our audience?
Don't leave the world the way you found it.
Best advice you ever got in your life, and from whom?
The best advice I got was from my father, that don't build things for your better tomorrow, build things for a legacy that you may not see.
The last movie you have ever watched?
Sharma ji, yesterday I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So your favorite dish?
It always remains Bengali cuisine.
Okay, yeah. Obviously. One good habit everyone should have.
Good habit.
Yeah.
I think good habit should be about, taking care of health, which I didn't do for years, but I think now I started practicing good healthy life. I think that's very important.
Best mischief you have ever done in your life?
Okay. Burned crackers in girls' hostels back in my school days and ran away.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
On behalf of Team Nv-Ratna and ISBR Business School, we would like to again thank you for being part of this series. So, and we would like to request one last message for our audience.
Yes, sir.
Anybody, whether they are children in school or working professional, it remains that don't run a rat race, because when you are in that rat race, you really don't know the destination. And if you want to participate in that rat race, first discover what's the objective of that race. And if you don't see yourself in that race, don't worry, you can create a parallel road for yourself. You may just have to walk alone for some time, but trust me, people will join you on that path. But just don't do it for the heck of just doing it because somebody told you. And keep making mistakes, because that's the beautiful lesson. It will actually give you the best taste of what success is if you make mistakes. Thank you.